Good evening, FSU. I'm student meteorologist Rebecca Darish here with FSU Weather. We've got a live look at Doak Campbell Stadium. Absolutely beautiful sunset going on right now. 77, slow, mostly some of those beautiful colors we see in the sunset, those yellows and oranges. Still quite the area. We're looking at 80s and then high 70s for most of the area. A little bit cooler as we get down towards the coast. Apalachicola cooling us off at 72. Our current local radar, we do have some storms that are pushing through in our northern counties in Georgia and Alabama. Not too much going on in Florida just yet. This green you see right around, most likely smoke, so not a huge shower. For our headlines tonight, we will have quite a windy weekend ahead of us, so have a huge weather here. We will get a lot of wind and a little bit of rain. We are going to be talking about where the severe weather is and how to stay safe during overnight outbreaks. All that and more in tonight's edition of FSU Weather.
Good evening, I'm Jason Corver and this is FSU Weather. So we got a great show for you guys. We're going to be talking about severe weather. That front system is going to be moving through our area. It's not going to really bring too much cold in our forecast, but you'll find out more in this show. It's mostly going to bring those high winds, which don't use an umbrella when it rains, and high winds, that equals an umbrella upside down, inside out, and that could cause some really bad, one, you can look really embarrassing, and two, you'll get drenched, basically. So just make sure you guys are prepared for that tomorrow. But it's going to be a great show. We're going to be talking about all severe coverage, especially in the southeast. We're going to be seeing lots of severe weather there. And then we're also going to be talking about just basically any type of weather that's happening, and also the lifestyle with the sports. It was a great game last night with the FSU baseball. It was a walk-off. I was almost there to be there, but I was a little bit late. But it was still a great game to be at. And hopefully this weekend will be a great sports week, because it's going to be lots of FSU baseball, FSU softball, but I'll get to that more in the lifestyle. And we also have a special guest coming tonight, because he's just visiting from New York, and you're going to see him very soon, but I won't spoil the surprise just yet. But it's going to be an amazing show. Right now the temperatures are going to be really nice, cool, comfortable, so it's not going to cool off too much like I was saying before, but it's still going to be pretty nice. But I'm actually going to send it off to Riley. That's our surprise for our first local.
Well, Jason, it is great to be back here with all of you on FSU Weather, and I couldn't be bringing you a more magnificent sunset this evening. We see the clouds really helping to bring out the colors, and it's also a 77-degree sunset. That is above our average for this time of year. Wind's dying down a little bit. Walking in, I was feeling my shirt rippling a little bit to the studio today, and that is something that's going to continue because we're getting these winds out of the south, which is really helping to jack up those temperatures. From our average high of 71 degrees, we are in the mid to upper 80s this week into this weekend. Now, right now, we have that low pressure pretty strong, causing a lot of severe weather out there in the Midwest. That is going to move our way as we head into the next couple of days. And notice these wind speeds, 14, 15 miles per hour here in Tallahassee. These wind speeds, we can't expect them to go up over the next few days. Current radar, we do have some prescribed burns just to the western side of our area, so we're dry. That rain isn't until you get a little farther north in the Georgia-Alabama border this evening, but that is going to change as we head into the day tomorrow. We are in the mid-70s across the region, finally cooling down, still 80 degrees in Valdosta, 79 in Quincy, a little cooler where that ocean temperature is playing the influence in Apalachicola at 72 degrees. And dew points, we're starting to feel a little muggy. We're getting a little bit more of a moist atmosphere as we head into the spring months, and especially with the southerly winds coming off the Gulf of Mexico, it's going to help juice up our atmosphere. Now, because of how strong that low pressure system is that's producing that severe weather out to our west, that is going to come towards our area tomorrow, the winds are going to be on the strong side. This is an especially strong low. Wind gusts up to 50 miles per hour can be expected across this gold-shaded region, and this goes until 10 p.m. tomorrow night. Starts early in the morning, so expect that Friday to be a little windy tomorrow. We notice winds stay out of the south, start to ramp up as we head towards the afternoon hours. Look at that, 27-mile-per-hour wind speed expected at 1 p.m. tomorrow. That's unusual for this area. And we start to see the radar filling in. These are going to be hit or miss storms. We're not going to be seeing a strong line of storms move in, but you're going to get a couple sprinkles here and there throughout the afternoon into the evening commute. We still have those winds gusting well upwards of 15 to 20 miles per hour, and even more so, 24 there in Monticello. The line starts to come through around sunset tomorrow. Don't expect something too impressive in terms of rainfall totals. And speaking of those rainfall totals, here they are. Slowly moving in here, but up to really a quarter of an inch of rain. We're not talking about anything excessive. Of course, exactly how much rain and where on this map picks up the most rain is all going to depend on where you are going to see those storms bubble up. Tonight, we are going to be only dipping into the upper 60s, even the low 70s in some areas. And the week ahead, we are going to see a cold front move through, maybe dip our temperatures into the low 80s, but well back up there into the mid 80s by next week. Becca?
We've been friends since freshman year of college. We're both from up north. I love seeing them down here, and I know that we both appreciate these warm temperatures while the north is experiencing a lot cooler temperatures. Here in the Sunshine State, you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Beautiful conditions all across the state of Florida. All of our locations right now at around 80 degrees with a beautiful sunset. For our satellite and radar, we are looking at that cold front that we've mentioned a little bit, pushing across the southeast. Luckily, that's not going to dampen us too much here in Florida. We're going to maintain a lot of that sunshine, but it is going to get windy and a little bit more cloud cover for North Florida. Thankfully for South Florida, always beautiful and sunny. You can see right now barely a cloud in the sky over the peninsula. Wonderful day. For Central Florida, those clouds are starting to move through a little bit, getting a little bit more of those prefrontal clouds, however, still mostly clear. And when we move up to North Florida, that's where we see those prefrontal showers and some of that prefrontal cloud cover moving into the area. That's going to continue throughout the night tonight and over the day tomorrow. Current conditions, as previously mentioned, wonderful conditions out right now. Partly sunny almost across the entire state, save for Key West down there, the very southern point. 78 degrees down in Key West, but for most of us, we're hugging those 80s and high 70s. Wonderful conditions this week. I personally really do love it. Something that usually comes with those higher temperatures is higher dew points. That's hit or miss for a lot of people. I don't mind the humidity. I will take it when it comes with those warmer temperatures, but a lot of people don't like it. So we are creeping back into those summertime humid, feeling very moist as we do in the summertime. So we're creeping back into that now, getting into that sort of season. For our future radar, that cold front coming through is going to help to dry us out a little bit, so that mugginess is kind of going to leave a little bit as this pushes through. Hit or miss showers, as Riley had mentioned, through most of the panhandle and then drying out as we get into Central and South Florida. For our 3-day forecast, we're looking at a little bit windy, breezy for the first day on Friday for most of our locations, and then clearing back up on Saturday and Sunday. We see that starting in Miami, and then for Tampa, same type of thing. We're looking at those breezy conditions tomorrow, clearing up by Saturday, and then some potential for storms on Sunday. For Orlando, same kind of deal. We're looking at that partly cloudy. It's going to be quite warm in the center of the state. If you have any Disney plans, I know spring break's coming up. Make sure that you're dressed appropriately. It can get quite hot in the center of our state. Jacksonville is going to be also experiencing the front with windy conditions tomorrow, clearing up by Saturday and Sunday. And finally, Pensacola and the Panhandle, they're going to experience the front at its most strength for Florida, looking at thunderstorms tomorrow, clearing up by Saturday, and wonderful on Sunday. We're going to look a little bit bigger picture now. I'm going to hand it over to Autumn, and she's going to give us a look at the entire Southeast.
Good evening, Tallahassee. It's Autumn here again for Florida State University weather. And as Becca mentioned, up in the northeast, we're seeing some cooler air probably coming in from the Arctic into the northeast. But as for our neighbors down here in the southeast, it is beautiful conditions. As for the temperature, as for how it looks, it's a bit cloudy. It seems to be very cloudy in all 4 of the locations we're seeing here on the screen. Tampa, 77 with some fairly dense clouds there. Clemson, South Carolina, same thing. It looks almost as if we can see a few raindrops on that screen there. Same thing with Charlotte, North Carolina, some rainy conditions, and Atlanta, Georgia is the coolest spot, as we could see 59 degrees. It looks like none of our neighbors down in the southeast are getting very much sun. Now, despite that, it is still fairly warm, especially for this time of year. As we go farther south down in Florida, of course, it gets warmer. Down in Miami, it's hitting 80 down there. So they're seeing our first sights of summer. As for our friends over in Jacksonville, they're a little bit warmer than us. Over here in Tallahassee, we're creeping around 77 degrees. And as we get a bit further north, it looks like up in Nashville, 64, Charlotte, 63. For some reason over here in Shreveport, it is 75 degrees. So they're keeping some warm temperatures over there as well. The dew points, it's pretty humid, not as humid as we see it get here in Florida. So for our Florida natives, this is nothing we're not used to. But for some of our new visitors, especially those who just came to Tallahassee starting school last semester, they're starting to feel those first feelings of very humid air down here in Tallahassee. Looks like the deep dew points are creeping around 56, 58 as we go a little bit farther north. And as we come closer down to the coast, we're seeing those dew points creep around the high 60s, 70s. So it's pretty humid, but not as bad as we see sometimes. And then as for our radar, it looks like that belt of rain is just missing us here in Florida. Luckily, we just got out of a rainy spell the past few weeks, so it looks like the rain is hitting Atlanta, so good luck to them. Hope you guys are all right. As for some storms, as that belt of rain passes through up here near Georgia and the Virginias, we're going to see some possibilities of thunderstorms in the next few days creep around these areas. The likelihood of these storms hitting our local area down here in Florida is not as likely. So they should definitely keep an eye out for that. Future radar, as I said, we'll definitely see some clouds moving through here in Tallahassee. It's been very cloudy this morning. I'm sure today's sun caught us all by surprise, as this morning it was a lot cloudier. But here in Tallahassee, we're just seeing some clouds, not too much rain here around our local area. And then as for this rainfall forecast, as I said before, we're not going to see too much. Looks like under an inch here in Tallahassee, but we shouldn't have to face too much rain down in this way. Hayden?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, speaking of some nice weather, but it's not nice weather, it's mid-central plains right now, some severe weather, and we're going to talk about that looking through. So right now, yeah, 81 degrees for tomorrow's forecast, but we're going to continue to go through the forecast and see what we see. Yeah, right now we have tornado watches that are occurring across the region. And this is our probability that we're talking about. SEC, this is our wind probability. It's not necessarily tornadoes, but you can see right now we're seeing around a 30 to 45% risk occurring across the region. It'll kind of go back to where we were looking at before. We're having all sorts of graphical issues. Anyways, as you can see, we had a lot of wind risk occurring across the mid-central plains, and accompanies has that tornado risk. Thank you for guys sing with me. The hail probability Dallas right now around 40% going across Waco. So we're definitely seeing some high metrics. We have a moderate threat for severe weather, about a 4 out of 5 list. Once again, those tornado probabilities around greater than or 10% away from Dallas, Waco, some very high populated areas, stretching over to Little Rock, into Greenville, bordering into Memphis, around 5% chance. So this is a pretty significant severe weather event. We have an upper level low bringing across. We have convective supercells kind of forming around the Red River Valley, and this is going to kind of congeal to a squall line. So as we progress into the evening, we'll have QLCS tornadoes possibilities, and of course some really strong wind gusts into that region. Why are we seeing such a strong signal for severe weather? Well, we have southeast winds bringing in that warm, moist air, require dew points for thunderstorms. We have a west wind bringing in that dry line, so we have convergence going on. We have a little bit of lift with this difference in humidities. And of course, at the upper levels, we have winds coming out of the southwest due to a jet coming through. And so when we have southeast winds across west-southwesterly winds, we have this directional shear and speed shear as well. And so any storms that develop are able to kind of spin. And that's how you get that kind of mesocyclone that you're talking about. So that once again, that tornado setup, around 10% chance of seeing that across the area. And looking at our instabilities currently right now, we're seeing spots up in the yellow. And so we're seeing moderate to high areas of instability kind of forming into the region, with our greatest threat right now being just east of Dallas, southward, and some really high high values of instability into Corpus Christi, but the shear is pretty low at the time. Active severe weather watches, we have tornado watch for Dallas, into eastern parts of Oklahoma. into the hill country. Further down, we have a severe thunderstorm watch. So hail and winds are likely to be a threat down into hill country. And then we have a little bit more helicity, a little bit more shear and directional ability for tornadoes into Dallas, into Oklahoma. And this will shift eastward into the Tennessee Valley. So something to keep an eye out. Right now, currently, we have that squall line from San Angelo into Dallas bringing some severe conditions. Maybe a couple of tornado warnings popping up into the region just east of Dallas. And zooming in, looks like we have a couple of cells out ahead of the main line, as they often do. They can start to form some rotation. So right now we have a cell between Dallas and Little Rock. Zooming in, yeah, you kind of see that little bow line structure. So definitely some rotations possible there. Tornado warning, this is actually an observed tornado. So you're watching us from Franklin, Red River, and Titus counties. Get your lowest shelter. This is heading northeast towards Aldabel. So get to your safest location for sure. The flood potential also with this severe weather threat, we have oldest heavy rain that's possible. We have a moderate risk away from Dallas into southwestern parts of Kentucky. We have oldest training convection. And look at that squall line. It's going to progress from Little Rock, Memphis, into Jackson, Mississippi. And really heavy rainfall from Memphis into Kentucky before that severe weather threat kind of reinvigorates with that diurnal heating. And now we're going to hand off to Jason for his forecast.
Yeah, so we're going to be looking at the next part of the severe weather for the other side, basically the southeast. As soon as the graphics load, there it is, perfect. And we're going to have an enhanced risk right over Kentucky, maybe some Nashville too. That's where my sister lives, so she needs to start paying attention to that. But just mostly all in the southeast, even Tallahassee has a marginal risk of storms for tomorrow. And then as we look at the damaging winds, that's what's mostly going to be happening with this storm, along with maybe the tornado threat. But we're going to see a 30% chance of strong winds, according to the SBC, tomorrow, around the same location as I said before in the storm, near Lexington and near Nashville. And then all the way down to Tallahassee, we're still going to get maybe at least some of this from that storm for tomorrow. Tornado probability, that's what we're going to be talking about. It's only a 5%, so it's not too much, but we still need to pay attention to it and be careful and plan your day around, especially that you might get a tornado in these areas. Not going to be too much for Tallahassee, though, but for basically the entire state of Tennessee and then mostly the entire state of Kentucky, that's where you guys need to be paying attention to. Looking at flood potential, that's going to be shifting a little bit up north near southern Ohio and northern Kentucky, near Evansville and Cincinnati. That's where you're going to be seeing those slight flood potential. And looking at the active floods right now, active flood alerts, we're going to be seeing a flood watch, mostly in those areas, as I said before, but maybe even some in Tennessee, where they're going to be seeing some rain, but not too much around then. And that will probably be ending tomorrow night around 6 p.m. Central Time. Future radar, this is why that's going to happen. You can see all that huge rain right here, maybe even some snow in north of Cincinnati, and that's going to be clearing out. It's going to be a beautiful part of the country. It's going to be amazing. And I'm actually going to send it to the desk because we're going to be doing some desk segment.
Thank you, Jason. Hayden and Jason gave us a wonderful look on what we can expect for severe weather. We're going to break it down on what you can do when that severe weather comes. Specifically, we're talking about nighttime severe weather.
So as for us Florida natives, we know for sure to keep your pets and animals inside. If you do see that there's sign of storms and you're getting those alerts, make sure your friends, family, and your pets are home and safe indoors. And definitely keep all of those devices fully charged so you can keep track of the weather.
Absolutely. Some other tips specifically for nighttime: have a plan. Obviously, most of us like to sleep during the night. I know I do. And before you go to bed, a good thing to do is to have your plan ready. So when that warning goes off, when that watch goes out, you know what your next action is. That can include where you're going to go in your home, what you're going to take, including your pets. And also, if you are don't have a safe place in your home, where are you going to go? Is that a relocation, a shelter, things like that?
And as Becca said, it's important to stay alert even as we're sleeping. As we sleep through the night, you never know what might develop if some emergency pops up. Keep your phone charged and with the volume on as loud as it can be. That way you can stay in the know if changes happen or if you know that you need to relocate or what may develop as the night passes while you sleep.
Absolutely. Some other ways to receive warnings can be through different alerts, through different weather apps, or if you don't have a phone or are not as familiar with it, having your NOAA weather radio set up and on during those overnight periods is another way to make sure that you are alerted when those storms go off. Watching our show like you're doing right now is also a great way. You know that there's a potential, so knowing this already you can go ahead and take those protective actions. Make sure if you are more weather aware, you can reach out to your friends, reach out to your loved ones where they might be impacted.
And if you are in a dorm, make sure you coordinate with your school and with your dorm and know what the safety protocols are for an incoming storm, whether you need to relocate, and the plans that you have in place for that so you can keep yourself safe.
Yep. We're going to completely switch topics here. We're going to go over to drought and fire weather on the wall.
Yeah, thanks, Becca. Yeah, fire weather is going to become an increasingly big issue as we head into spring weather. And conditions get warmer, things get a little bit drier. This will be a big, especially in Florida, our fire season's coming up. So, but now we have severe weather as well. We have an issue of wave being woken up. I think they did the fire segment. Now I'm going to do severe weather. Sorry, I'm a little out of it. I've been doing a thesis. Outdoor tornado sirens are meant to wake you up. Keep phone and shoes at your bedside, of course, to kind of get out. Our graphics are being a little bit slow to respond today. Okay, now we're going back to the fire weather outlook. Oh my goodness, what is going on today? All right, from Alpine to Laredo, we have an critical to extreme fire risk going on today. We have a fire weather warning from Brownsville into Lubbock, so definitely keep any flames from going to that area. We have a high wind warning stretching from San Angelo into El Paso, so that's something to keep and look out for. And of course, that fire weather warning, fires could be possible. And this is typical areas in the Southwest. We have really strong southwest winds that's bringing us severe weather. We have really dry air behind that dry line. And so, of course, we have all this risk of seeing fires. And, of course, in order to have fires, the ground kind of needs to be dry in order to have those high burning fuels. So we have a spot right now that's exceptional between San Jose and Corpus Christi. So that'll be a spot to look at. And then, of course, around the Mexican-U.S. border, from Monterey down to Brownsville, we have a extreme risk as well of really dry conditions. So we have a little bit of levity and drought from El Paso, say into the Big Bend of Texas, but still we have all those dry. We have dew point 12 degrees in Alpine 7 Midland. Even if you're not under exceptional drought, we still have all this fire risk with high winds and really low relative humidity. So this whole area is just primed to see potential for wildfires. So keep your gender reveal parties, put your cigarettes. Don't put them out into the wild right now. We definitely have some issues. And of course, look at those wind gusts, 36 miles an hour, 30 Midland. That is just asking for a fire to be born. And of course, we have no active fire incidents right now, but that could change if we don't take any mitigation issues. And now we're going to hand over to Jason for his forecast.
Yeah, we're actually going to be talking about the lifestyle. So that's going to be very fun. We're going to be completely switching gears here. And this is the fun part of the segment. Not really talking about fires, but we're going to be talking about the Sportplex, maybe Panama City, Lake Bradford, all the places you would go on the weekends, maybe even during the week for IM Sports, even a night in College Town. A lot of 68s. You really just don't see that. That's because of those clouds you can see right here. Those clouds keeping those temperatures down there at 68, not going to really be able to drop too much because of those clouds over us, keeping that moisture and that heat in. But the rest tomorrow, though, not going to be a great day if you do not want to go sailing tomorrow because it's going to be very windy, stormy. You said 19 sustained mile-an-hour winds, so that's going to be crazy. So do not go out there. And then tomorrow, it's going to be a very fun softball game. It's going to be lots of rain, lots of wind, so those balls will be flying hopefully over the wall for FSU for the double header for softball tomorrow. But that rain chances start to decrease, maybe even increase as we get along around 8 p.m. But that could change. Maybe the storm will move faster, maybe move a little slower, and that will cause the change in that forecast. Friday night, though, that's going to be a great game. We barely won against USF on Wednesday with a walk-off, basically. Great game. You guys definitely watch the highlights of that game. Going to be basically the same type of weather that softball's having with around 9 p.m. when you guys are going to be getting out of the game around 73 with 50% chance of rain. And then on Saturday, much better to play softball, 80, 87, 78 around 6 p.m. around sunset time. And then tomorrow, on Saturday is also going to be another baseball game for FSU, and that's going to be a lot better temperatures than it was before because it's going to be 76, 75, and then 70 on Saturday. It's going to be a great series. Hopefully we win against FGCU and can continue climbing up the ranks for baseball because we have a really good team this year. And then to close out the series, hopefully with a series win against FGCU, 78 on the kickoff. 78 for the first pitch, and then around the end of the game, we're going to be 66. So a pretty chill day, not great day to play some baseball. Hopefully we win, and that's basically all the sports we have going on right now. Not really too many since basketball's over, but it's going to be a great time to go. Definitely go watch your Seminoles play some softball and play some some baseball. But now I'm going to send it next to Auden.
And I would definitely say the most popular word we've seen on our show tonight is definitely clouds. These clouds have caught us all by surprise and are definitely having an impact on our weather. It looks like these clouds may be bringing in some stormy conditions that we're looking to see on Friday, which kind of stinks. May rain out our Friday, but as we can see on Saturday and Sunday, it is going to be dry and sunny with a 0% chance of rain. Here's our live look at Doak and how gorgeous it is. Again, those clouds this morning had us all thinking that it was going to be a gloomy day. It even sprinkled for a little bit while I was outside, and then as the day progressed, it looks like the sun came out to catch us all by surprise and say hello to us as it sets tonight. The temperatures are very comfortable. It's looking like it's 77, mostly cloudy with wind coming in from the south at only 10 miles an hour, so a little bit slower than it was the other day, but those winds will pick up over time. Those current temperatures are very comfortable, sitting at 77 in Tallahassee right now, surrounded by 77 and 76 in some other areas. The warmest we're seeing here in our local current temperatures is 80 in Valdosta. So it's very comfortable in comparison to the 80 degrees that we've been seeing previously in the week. We shouldn't be getting hit by too much rain. What we're seeing here is smoke actually from a few fires going on. So we're not going to see many showers here in Tallahassee, but we are going to see some wind gusts coming through. We're seeing those winds hitting 27 miles an hour, which is pretty darn quick. So stay safe. Make sure you hold on to everything that you need that's not tied down because it will be getting windy. As for tonight in Tallahassee, it is cloudy, but it's comfortable, sitting at 67, so it won't get too cool, and the winds are coming in from the south-southeast at 7 miles an hour. As for our week ahead, as I said, Friday showers, Saturday, Sunday, dry and sunny, and we may see some showers come back in over the time next week. Let's hear from our desk.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's great to have all this going on this week at Florida State. Nice warm weather, as I like to see when I'm coming back from the north.
Yeah, that was quite a surprise when I saw my old friend from the north. I was like, I'm pretty sure that is him. And yeah, looks like you brought down not the cold air with you.
No, wherever I come, I bring the heat because that's just my motto. And except the Heat are going to lose tomorrow to the Knicks because I am from New York. So.
Oh, Knicks fan. Yeah, but I mean, I like the Heat, so I guess we'll have a little bit of a disagreement there. Anyways, looks like maybe some slight risk of severe weather coming to the region. We'll have to keep an eye on it, but it looks like to be more in the northern areas.
Yeah, we're definitely going to have to watch what comes through. Probably not going to excite any severe weather lovers tomorrow, but it'll be good for places like the airport that have been prone to getting hit.
Yeah. Anyways, follow us on Twitter at FSU Weather.
And we're also on Facebook, FSU Weather, wherever you go.
And of course, if you're watching the show right now, you probably know where to watch us. Recommend us. We're on YouTube at FSU Weather.
And Instagram, I'm not sure what we post there anymore. Might be some dog pics, might be some forecasts. But for tonight, I'm meteorologist Riley Winch.
And I'm meteorologist Hayden Wilder. Have a good one.
See you guys.
We're going to take our last look at our 7-day as we close out. As we've stated throughout the entire show, we're going to have that cloudy frontal day on Friday, recovery over the weekend, back into our wonderful summer temps by Monday, Tuesday, and then we have our next severe weather chance Wednesday, Thursday. Make sure to follow along so you can keep up with that. For FSU Weather, I'm Rebecca Darish.